Hi everyone, I'm back for my fourth day of this training cycle. Today I'm going to be deadlifting and doing some back accessories. I've always been pretty strong at deadlifting, however I've always had problems with my form. I started out conventional deadlifting. I just wanted to try something different though, so I switched to sumo and found that I was actually stronger in this position, but I've never been able to do what I feel is a proper sumo deadlift. So now I feel like my deadlift is more of a hybrid type deadlift. So I'm just gonna do my best. I'm gonna keep it light today and just try to not shoot my hips up first. So here goes nothing. Even though today is my back day, I'm still gonna warm up my legs too, because deadlift is very much a full body type movement. So I don't wanna go into it cold. So I'm gonna spend a little more time warming up today. It's also cold in here today. If you're just starting to deadlift and trying to figure out which position to be in, conventional versus sumo, generally I feel like people usually start out with conventional, but it's totally a personal preference. The main difference is where your hands and feet are placed in relation to the bar. For conventional, your feet are generally going to be in line with your shoulders and your hands are going to be placed on the bar outside of your legs. Whereas for a sumo deadlift, your feet are spread out more, your toes are pointed outward with your hands placed on the bar inside of your legs. In my last video, we briefly touched on eccentric versus concentric contractions. When I do these negative pull-ups, anything that is considered a negative is an eccentric contraction. I mentioned that I'm spending a little extra time warming up today. I also make sure to do a light stretch, and then I'll get started on my warm-up sets. A deadlift is essentially a movement where the main goal is to pick up the bar off the floor and straighten your knees standing upright in the most efficient way possible. So what I'm thinking about here is keeping the bar close to my body, because lifting anything in front of us makes it much more difficult. I'm going to focus on keeping my hips open, my chest upright, and pushing my feet through the floor. I want to make sure my legs are doing a lot of the work as opposed to putting most of the load on my back, and also making sure that I'm keeping a neutral spine, not allowing my back to round. Okay, that felt pretty good. I'm just gonna keep going up until I can find a weight where I feel like I can do probably 3 sets of 6 today. I don't wanna push it because again, I haven't deadlifted heavy in a very long time. So again, just trying to focus on my form, trying to keep my hips really tight and keeping my chest up. My hips don't really rotate out very well, but I'm working on it and I feel like this is where I'm the strongest. So I'm just gonna keep doing it and see what happens. I think my lack of hip flexibility is my main issue in my form, as I've mentioned several times already. However, I keep saying that it's a form breakdown, but a lot of really strong deadlifters actually have a similar hybrid type style. So it may not necessarily be an issue unless I feel that it's causing pain, or if I notice that my knees are caving in or my back is rounding. But just the sole fact that I can't open my hips very wide, I'm not actually sure if that's posing a problem. If there's anyone out there that has anything to say about my form, please reach out. I have been working on this for years and I would love some feedback. That might be it. That was hard, but manageable. I'm also not wearing a belt, so I feel like once I put a belt back on, That would make a big difference. I mean, it adds a couple pounds, a couple meaning quite a bit for me. I think for today, I'm just gonna stick with this without the belt, and then maybe next week I'll throw a belt on. Another thing I think about is breathing, as with any other lift. I think of myself getting loaded like a spring, and the deep breath in and holding it allows me to push against my body and brace myself. So I take my breath, hold it in until I get to the top, and then always have fresh oxygen in my lungs for the next rep. Notice also how I come to a complete stop after each rep. I'm staying tight, but I'm not bouncing it off the ground. Allowing it to stop all the way and almost reset up for each rep helps get your body used to a 1 rep max and pulling heavy weight off the floor without the assistance of the bounce. Another important thing I want to mention is that I've seen people who haven't done this movement either ever or in a long time, and they have an expectation of how much they can lift, and their body isn't ready for it, and they end up getting injured. If you're just starting out or are getting back into it after a long time off, please start slow and don't sacrifice your form for heavier weights. My back is going to be sore. This is generally what happens to me. I go through these phases where I don't like lifting and then I love it. Right before I started this training cycle, I was like, I don't want to power lift, I don't want to max out. But then I get to my deadlift and I just want to be stronger at it. Now I'm like, I want to push myself to get to the point where I was. The most I deadlifted in the gym is 350 pounds. The most I did in a meet was 340, and I just want to be at that weight again. 90 kilograms is 198 pounds, and I just did that for 3 sets of 6, and it was fairly difficult, but I feel like I could be stronger. And the only reason it was hard is because I haven't done it in a long time. So I'm very excited to continue this process so that I can get stronger. When I said I'm not ruling out doing a 1 rep max, now I want to. So that just goes to show how things change. On to my back accessories. When we say back, we are kind of just referring to all the posterior muscles between your head and your hips. There are many muscles in your back, and there are many exercises that can target your back. I got a little bit of constructive criticism about not going down all the way for my pull-ups, which I appreciate because I don't want to cheat anything. So here are as many pull-ups as I can do unassisted, where I straighten my arms all the way in between each rep. I only got 7, so I decided to do my next 2 sets with some assistance. I would say the 2 most common back muscles we talk about are your lats and your traps, or your latissimus dorsi and your trapezius. Your lats originate on your thoracic and lumbar spine as well as part of your pelvis and inserts onto your humerus. Your traps originate on your head, your cervical and thoracic spine and insert into your clavicle and scapula. Movements like these lat pull-downs, where you're bringing your elbows down or back, are going to target your back muscles. About a year and a half ago, I broke my foot, and this is how. I had the bar like this on the bench, I had a set of 25-pound plates on each side. I was doing barbell rows. I set the bar right here, but I set it too close to this end, and then I took a step like this as it rolled off like this. Right onto my foot, right onto my first metatarsal, cracked it in half, and that was the beginning of a whole new chapter in my life. Needless to say, do not do that. I am going to row today, but I will keep this bar on the floor. Safety first. If you want to hear or see more about my foot injury, leave a comment and let me know if that's something you're interested in. I find it super interesting, but I don't know if you will, so let me know. I've been staring at this wall for like 10 minutes trying to figure out what Scott's abbreviations stand for, and I finally just realized that this means bench press and not blood pressure. Oopsies. I was literally like, F-U blood pressure? Is your blood pressure high? Whenever I do back accessories, I just try to mix it up and do as many different rotational movements to target all the muscles back there, whether it's a row or a pull apart or a pull down. Each movement is going to target a different back muscle or group of back muscles. All right, so just finishing up this back workout. I feel like it was a pretty good day. My body's feeling pretty good. I'd like to give it a day or so rest. On to the next week, week 2. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, do all the things. I appreciate it.